Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Rich G. Today I'm here with DJ Jase, who is a Queens native, born in New York, and he has gone on to be a DJ worldwide. He's been an artist in residence at One Oak, which has a place in Japan. So he spent some time in Japan and also New York City. So Jase, thanks for coming out and hopping on the show. What's going on, bro?
Rich, thanks for having me, man. Glad to be here. We're all going through it together, you know? We're all staying home, social distancing, yada, yada. And just trying to make the best out of it. You know, we got a lot of time on our hands. You know, now's the time to do all those things we were wanting to do. Those little fucking squeaky doors, you know, whatever the fuck, you know. Sorry to curse, but yeah. Thankfully, everyone's all right, and just hoping this all blows over soon.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. Tell me a little bit about, like, you know, what it was like growing up, and then also how you got into being a DJ, and then really what I guess everybody's going to be interested in is how you ever got so popular that you ended up in Japan at One Oak, and also even being in New York City at One Oak. One Oak's a heck of a place. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So I had parents involved in the liquor industry. So when I was younger, I was around nightclubs. I was around that whole lifestyle. So I guess I was exposed to that type of stuff. And then it goes full circle with the art, because I guess when I was younger, I was definitely taking the trains a lot younger, looking at how all the trains were painted and, you know, being able to see the train from like my grandmother's window growing up. So hip hop and DJing and art, you know, especially coming from New York City, have always been intertwined. And I feel like the last tail end of that real New York hip hop, whatever was going on at that moment.
Yeah.
So I was just hooked on it all, you know, from like making mix CDs from an early age, like downloading music, to then realizing that people were getting paid for it. There was a quote, I think it was by DJ AM, like a really big popular DJ that happened to pass away years ago. But he said something to the point of like, if you can make a teacher's salary DJing, you know, why not? You know, and that always stuck with me. Like, fuck it, if I'm making enough to keep the lights on, pay the bills, and have a good time while doing it, you know, who's better than myself? So I went that way after going to college for a couple of years.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, you're creative as hell. I mean, we have a lot of commonality because we first met one of my friends, Ralph, who obviously you know forever. Ralph works in the liquor industry, and I've known him for a long time. And then he said, you got to meet Jase, and I said, great. We met, we hit it off. I think we went to that place in Brooklyn too, the whiskey place, Whiskey Jane, right?
Yes.
Right. We went there. We checked that out.
That was cool.
Yeah, it was a cool day, and we were trying to do something. The other thing that we have in common is I represent graffiti artists, and you are not only, I'm sure, a graffiti artist, but you are a collector.
Yep.
What do you got behind you?
This is the London Police, British folks, but they do this all with markers and stuff. It's just
very cool.
That's from Dynasty. It was before my time, but it was a cool piece.
Before your time. Well, that was part of my time. I could show you a picture of me and Heather Locklear. It was one of the.
I'm sure you could. You got your stories too.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. Dynasty was a pretty funny one. That's how I met Richard Nixon, because I took Heather to a Yankee game, and I asked my friend Ed. I said, you know, we're going to really need to sit upstairs because it's going to be crazy. That, you know, she's an actress and the fans are going to go nuts. And then sure enough, it was crazy, and the fans did go nuts. And so my buddy Ed said, bring her up to Steinbrenner's box. And so we went up there, and who was there but Richard Nixon, who was a big fan and wanted to meet him. Wow. Anyway, it's just, you know.
You got a ton of those in the bag.
Yeah, a little bit. That's a funny one. Yeah. But you, listen, and this is a terrible thing for me to say because it means I'm getting old. But when I was your age, I did something similar and went into entertainment. That's why, you know, you have gone into entertainment with your DJing. I mean, what's like the largest crowd you played in front of?
I've worked with festivals in Japan. New York, I've done, the Pasha, big rooms. I've done maybe, thousands of people. The music halls, like Sony Music Hall, and some of the events there
Yep.
through the wires, the Webster halls.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've opened up for a lot of really cool artists throughout the years, or just things happening organically.
Yeah.
Which happens a lot with the One Oaks or those type of spots where a celebrity or an artist might be in town right about the time where they want to release new works, and they come up to me and just like, hey, if you play my songs, I'll do a performance.
Very cool. Bro, so drop some names, bro. I'm sorry, but that's what people want to hear, I can't be the only person.
Yeah, I've done stuff with Snoop Dogg, Swizz Beats, Skrillex, DJ Snake, a ton of the dance music guys.
Yeah.
A ton of people in New York as well. And it's just usually right place, right time, and just, being someone to rely on and be dependable,
Yeah, and you're outgoing and you don't have an attitude and you're friendly and you can relate to people, right?
I was always down to work, always, humble about it, and always down for, excitement or, whatever it is, no one had to tell me whether it was 5 people or 100 people, 1,000 people. I'm always ready to play and just have a good time.
Well, that's cool. So, I mean, you've carved a nice living out of it, is the bottom line, correct?
Fortunately, until nowadays, until this day and age.
Yeah.
So this whole catastrophe of what's going on.
Yeah.
But it's something where everyone's dealing with at the same time too. So it's not.
Yeah, it's not like you're falling behind anybody because everybody's behind.
Yeah, it's a trip to even see like some of these big acts, asking to raise money for their tour, for the tour managers.
Yeah, I mean, they just raised. They raised, I want to say, $100 million for support people. Sony Records and a bunch of other entities raised over $100 million. I don't know exactly. That was a couple of weeks ago that they started that fund. So I don't know where that is exactly and how they're dispersing the money, but I know that it was a big push, and it's probably over $100 million by now. But a bunch of the big players put money in for the tour manager, for the lighting director, for everybody, the roadies,
Yeah. No, there's definitely a lot of people there out of work.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of people hurting in this world. And that $1,200 stimulus package didn't cut the mustard, did it?
Oh, not at all.
that barely, you paid your cell phone bill and maybe a couple other little things and it's gone.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's a tough one. They're talking about maybe giving another one, but these are tough times, and I don't know when it's going to come out, and when it's going to come out and change. So musically, are you making any tapes? Are you in a position?
So now I'm just trying to be as productive as possible. I have a really bad tendency of just making stuff and never releasing it.
Oh.
And then just going on to the next one and doing the same thing over, and that's been the last 10 years.
Yeah, really.
But with that being said, it's pretty awesome to go back, at least for myself, and just be like, there was an idea there that could really grow into something with the experience of, foresight, and now looking at like what I was trying to do back then that I could definitely accomplish now. And
yeah,
I'm a firm believer of everything happens at the right time. So
well, this is a time, bro, right?
That was definitely a time.
This is a time. I don't, whether it's right or wrong, it's a time. It's a time to do something. So I like the fact that people are in motion. You know what I'm saying? Like forward. Just forward, never straight.
That's it. And just, I love the positivity, just going out, doing something right now. Nowadays, people are grabbing it. There's so much for the taking.
Yeah.
There's so much, if people complained about time, now you got the time. Let's see what you do with it, Now you have a spotlight.
Yeah. Did you ever watch The Twilight Zone?
Yes, I used to watch The Twilight Zone. This is a Twilight episode, man.
This is a crazy ass Twilight Zone. I mean, and you can look at it one of two ways. You can look at it really negative and just you'll end up like in a loony bin, or you got to look at it as positive as possible, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really the two ways to take it. And the choice, it's an obvious one. Just try to find the positives about this whole thing, because you could really drive yourself mad with all this negativity right now. And
yeah, absolutely.
It's not healthy.
No, it's not healthy, not at all. I mean, that's why I started to do this. I was telling Ralph. And well, are you guys just friends? Are you related? What's the story with you two?
He's an uncle.
Oh, he's your uncle. Okay, cool. So he's an uncle. I had a bunch of uncles too, but I was Italian. I actually had a Morty Schwartz uncle. That's how many uncles I had growing up. But no, Ralph's great people, and we were talking about it. Like this is very therapeutic. It's almost like today was like something to look forward to. We were going to talk to each other and do this.
It
So
was.
you know what I'm saying? Like I've seen a bunch of DJs, young, old, whatever, and they're going on like Facebook Live or something like that, and they're spinning. They got their table set up. Is that something that you were thinking about doing? Just for whatever reason?
It's definitely on my mind. I've done it a couple times so far.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah, you have guys like D-Nice is a perfect example.
Uh-huh.
D-Nice, he started doing it a couple of days and so on and so forth, 200,000 viewers.
Wow.
I think that's great. Again, no shots at all to D-Nice, great DJ. But I also think there's also like favoritism going on in terms of Instagram and stuff like that. If you have the blue check mark, you're getting a lot more leeway than a lot of these other DJs that are getting kicked off every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes,
Oh, they get kicked. They actually get kicked off Facebook Live, yeah?
You kicked off Facebook Live, Instagram, all those streaming services. If you're playing copyrighted music, that's a big issue nowadays. Where it's just
yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I didn't know about that way though. Wow, I didn't even think of that.
So I see a lot of guys like, not struggling, but it's a game of cat and mouse. Whereas like, all right, Instagram just took me down for this long. Now I got to move this over here to this, and just it's a lot of trial and error for all the guys.
Oh, pain in the ass.
Yeah, so seeing like which is the best way to stream, which has the best place to hold followers, where can you get the maximum reach, and a ton of people are doing it right now. So I think it's almost oversaturated.
Okay.
But it's definitely a new medium that's out there right now for the DJs to use.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just to like, I gotta believe that entertainers, athletes, they want to do their thing. You know what I'm saying? Entertainers want to entertain,
100%.
Right? So I just think I'm saying from a therapeutic standpoint, you just put
letting it rip.
Yeah, if you get ripped off in 10 minutes, you get ripped off in 10 minutes. So Facebook is a problem. What about YouTube? YouTube probably isn't, but you got to get people to go to the YouTube site, huh?
YouTube's also a little problem. I haven't really looked into how big of a problem, but there's the alternatives. You have Facebook Live, you have Instagram Live, you have Twitch, YouTube.
Yep.
And there's maybe one more that's like pretty popular. And
not Vimeo, is it?
No, Vimeo isn't. Vimeo is good for hosting other stuff, but not necessarily for the live streams and stuff like that.
Gotcha. But what if you taped one and you put it up on YouTube? Let's say you did one, recorded it, and put it up on YouTube. That wouldn't be.
I think it might fly, depending on the use of the copyright material and how well they're able to kind of find that stuff.
Yeah.
But it should be able to work, And again, what I've been doing is just, for my stuff at least, just focusing more on quality over quantity. I can get on a live stream every day and do something, but I'm trying to, like, in the background, come up with a perfect mix. But then again, there's no such thing as perfection, and things don't end up. Things get shelved for weeks and then forgotten about in the search for perfection.
Yeah, that's
just gotta throw it out there.
I've been involved with a couple of artists that were perfection. Yeah, most artists are all about perfection, really. But sometimes you could just overanalyze what your product is, and instead take a chance and just do it.
That's definitely been an issue on my part. But again, can't complain. I know the areas I got to work on as well, and they're being worked on, and now's the time.
I just think I just believe that you're a major talent, and so my hope is that you just stay positive. No, seriously, you stay positive, man, and you come out of this ready to go, And if you can grease the skids, and if you could set up a couple of things in advance, so that when it happens, you're in demand and you land on your feet. That's what you deserve,
Thank you, man. That's the goal, and that's the idea. Hopefully I could set some stuff right. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Have you heard from any clubs, or have you heard what are you hearing as far as how they're going to open, or if they're going to open, when they're going to open? How's that going to look?
It's crazy. I think you know, so far and like with what's going on currently, I've seen like the potential like outdoor parties, maybe doing like, you know, that the drive-in theaters, maybe drive-in concerts.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's a whole possibility that people are really starting to toy with and think about.
Yeah.
In terms of DJing in New York, it looks like the outdoor areas might make it out of this okay.
Yep.
Places that have rooftops, like a Hotel Chantel has the rooftop. I can see that place doing well. Places that have places to breathe, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think right now with New York City, it's all up in the air. The date's gonna keep getting pushed back, in my opinion.
Yep.
And if you're looking abroad, I think South Korea just opened up. They opened up nightclubs, and then within the first weekend, there was a big outbreak. And they're knocking on 2,000 people's door, trying to contact trace and, you know, trying to see who went out to the club, who's exposed, who were those party goers.
Wow.
So you see stuff like that happening, you know, to the places that are opening, you know, so we'll see what happens over here as well. You know, it doesn't look good, to be honest.
No, I hear you. Well, I mean, just not to make even more excited, in Florida, they opened up the beaches, and a week later, they actually closed a couple on the West Coast because there was no social distancing, and
yeah,
incidents of corona, the corona went up a little bit, and so now they're trying to regroup and figure it out. I've seen separate seating areas, for example, in major stadiums, where they're putting up plexiglass, the same kind of maybe a little sturdier, but the same kind of plexiglass that you see when you go pay for something at a supermarket, let's say.
wow,
Between you and the cashier. So they're actually toying with doing that at some stadiums. But the other thing is that there's going to be a segment of the population that is going to go out no matter what, and it's up to the people that are running the place to keep the social distancing, because it already has happened in Florida where they relaxed the rules, and people are sending me, you know, pictures of bars and nightclubs where people are right on top of each other again.
yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, at least you'll be performing, so you're not going to be like in the middle of the whole thing.
Definitely fortunate that I'm not in the middle of it, so I think I'll be all right wherever I end up.
Yeah, in the DJ booth.
In
In the DJ booth, right?
myself.
Yeah, for once this will like be a real DJ booth maybe again, like back in the day, you know? Who were your influencers? Like, who influenced you when you first started? You mentioned a couple of names, but who was that one star or that one person that influenced you? And then also, who was that one star that you actually got a chance to meet and work with?
That's difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
DJ AM is like every DJ's go-to person that they respected, looked up to, and wanted to be like. So for me, you know, I was 16, couldn't go to the clubs yet, and watching this guy crush it, waiting till I turned 21.
Yeah.
Only till I turned 18 and I started using a fake ID to go out to the club. That was a fun time. You know, I had my 21st birthday at the Hudson Hotel 3 years in a row.
Mm.
They're like, I thought you turned 21 this year. I'm like, no, I
This year.
swear, it's this year for sure.
That's
It
awesome.
was last year, you know, or whatever.
That's so funny. But,
So-
yeah, that's right. Yeah, you guys are part of the 21 generation. When I was working in nightclubs back in the day, it was 18. So we obviously they were kids 15, 16 that were sneaking in.
Oh, it's crazy. I can only imagine what was going on in those days. Like, that's again, like, I feel like I caught the tail end of like the real club days. The people partying. Probably not even in comparison to what really went down. In terms of who I respected that I had a chance to meet or work with, I guess, you know, seeing the guys like Skrillex and Snake, you know, some DJs that are producing, you know, or in places that I would want to be one day, and just seeing how they're operating and seeing what they're doing, and, you know, being just being a student, you know, just watching them do their thing. And, you know, there's DJs like that once in a while that you'll see in motion and you go, shit, I gotta go home and practice, or you know, whatever I'm doing, I've been doing it all wrong. So I mean, in recent memory, it'd be those two guys where I'm just like, they're producing well, they're killing the crowds, they have a ton of people that come out to see them, and they're pretty humble for the most part, or, you know, cool, down to earth, So it was just a cool thing to see, you know. Then you also see some of the other guys that act way more cocky than they should be and don't want anybody in the booth to be in the photo around them, and they want everything so clear. But then they're the first guys to ask you for a song that they don't have that got requested or something. Who knows? I'm talking from experience, but I mean, you have the opposite spectrum of, you know, people that shouldn't be acting that type of way. But for the most part, you know, no one has a problem with the DJs. The DJs usually get a lot of love all the time.
Thank God, right? That's because they're basically professionals. But you bring up a good point about the humility, and it's always very cool to meet a big star who's humble. And more often than not, I've been lucky because I either have met people like that, or I've had the ability to meet an idiot and like stay away from him.
Yeah, there's some people that I've met, and I'm like, wow, I really should have met that person. Just like toxic or just unnecessary or just relax there. You know, I've been around people, you know, that's done a lot more, that acted a lot less, you know, like the way you are.
It's amazing. I mean, I really, even in all of this, what's going on now, there's been a couple of celebrities that have just, you know, done or said things that I just, you know, couldn't even believe that they had the audacity to do that. You know, it's pretty crazy. I can't believe that there are bands that are actually complaining that they're going to miss their stadium tour because of this, when the bottom line is people are dying.
Right? Yeah, and we all know somebody that probably has, you know, and
by now we have, right? I mean, especially you're out in the public, I'm out in the public. We've a ton of entertainers have passed away, predominantly older, but I mean, still there are some entertainers that have passed away from this, and some people that we all know that have passed away from this. So
friends, parents, you know, grandparents. So whenever someone asks me, you know, how am I? Look, it could be worse. Every day, you know, it could always be worse. You know, and you just gotta thank God for what we have. And like again, we have a roof over our head, a freezer full of meat. You know, there's people that don't have those. So again, knock on wood, it could always be worse, man. And
yeah, it absolutely can. But so let's end on a positive note here then. So the bottom line is you're making some mixtapes. Once you make them, like, how does that work? How do you sell them, or do you sell them, or what do you do there?
I should be selling them. Realistically, I'm bad with that whole stuff. So usually I'll just throw it on my site. You know, I'll first give it to some friends that always ask me. I'm like, okay, here you go. Here's this new mixtape. You know, let me know your feelings. And then from there, I work into getting it out. You know, really pushing it, whether it's on my site, which I've been working on, jasenyc.com. I'll drop that one.
Absolutely, bro.
So I've been working on that, just trying to get stuff up there, be more consolidated with where I put my material, and at least have a place that is mine. You know, YouTube's not going to take down my own site, you know,
right.
Whatever. And really just focusing on the time to just, you know, produce. I think creativity is the currency of the future.
Beautiful.
Because we're going to need creative people to come up with new stuff or new ways to help the bored people, you know, or just, you know, give something to the masses.
Yeah.
So I think creativity is really something to harness. So when someone has that creative juice, I'm always for just like pushing them off the ledge and letting them go for it, and let's see what rips, especially if it's bringing them happiness.
Yeah.
It's just letting them go. So right now I'm really in that creative mode of just go. If I want to clap two pots together and call this music, you know, this is where I am right now in my stage of the game. And, you know, if you build it, they'll come. You know, you might start out with 0 fans, but, you know, maybe one person might go, hey, I like that. The second person, and then you have 2 diehard fans, you know, and that's how you really come up with, you know, something that's substantial, I think, is just saying fuck you to everybody else and doing what makes you happy and, you know, keeping it going from there. And I've been doing that my whole life, and it's been working out. We'll see how this works out some more.
I think it's going to work out great. I'm a big fan. I think the world of you. I love your energy, and you just said it. The creativity and the energy that you have is going to really bring you to the other side of this, and you're going to shine for a long, long time to come. What's the one question I didn't ask you that you wish I had?
What am I looking forward to? in 2020, we were supposed to have the Olympics in Japan. Besides bringing the club out there, the One Oak, you know, we're looking forward to that should be an awesome time to just celebrate when this is all over and, you know, have something that we put out there to rock and let loose. So it's going to be a fun couple of months when the Olympics head back out to Tokyo.
That's awesome. Good. I love it. Way to go, brother. We're going to obviously put your website address and any other information on our site, and we're behind you 100%, and we're going to push you as much as we can, brother. Thanks, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Talk to you soon.